It's been a while since I've been able to say this, but today's a new amp day, and the new amps are here. So you might have heard about an amp builder named Crab Guitar Effects before, most likely why you clicked on this video, and you might even be trying to do some research of your own to decide if you want to buy one on the used market or order one directly from the company, which is exactly what I was doing when I was trying to decide if I wanted to order this one or not. And honestly, it's kind of hard to find information on these out there. So that's why I decided to just take the leap of faith and order the Dominator from Crab Guitar Effects. Now let's preface this by saying I did pay for this myself. I got no special discounts or anything like that. I paid full price for this amp, just so I can show it all to you with an unbiased review. There's a lot of great things about it, and there's some not so great things about it. But before we jump into the tone demos, this is the Dominator. As I said, the Dominator is an EVH 5150 inspired amplifier. This is a 50 watt head. They do also make a 12 watt version of this as well. I don't know if they make anything higher than that. I chose the 50 watt version. It's a 3-channel all tube amplifier. It's got a clean channel, a rhythm channel, and a lead channel. It also runs at 4, 8, or 16 ohms. So you should be good to go with just about any cabinet that you have or any 2-notes captor that you might be using. But it also does have its own power switching option on the back of it that goes between a high power, which I assume is full 50 watts, and a low power, which is probably somewhere around that 12 watt or 15 watt setting. Although it doesn't say on it, so that's one of the negatives about it. There's no like documentation that comes with this to tell you what anything on it does. So we have to assume that it works pretty much like an EVH 5150, except for that low and high watt power setting switch. Now the reason I ordered this one instead of the various other models that he has, because he builds some clones of like boutique amps that are out there as well. But the reason I chose this, and anybody who follows me on this channel probably knows this already, is I'm very partial to the PV distortion and gain structure type of sound. I grew up playing the 5150 Blockletter, and I had to sell it to pay bills back in the day, and these days everybody's jacking up the price on them because of the passing of Eddie Van Halen. And I refuse to pay those prices on the used market for an amp that I used to be able to get for 600 bucks. So what did I do? I ordered this for $550 plus $160 shipping, and because I live in the US, there was a $55 import tax on it as well. It did take him about 2.5 months to finish this and ship it to me. He quoted me 3 months, so he actually came in well ahead of schedule. I was pretty stoked to see that. It shipped via USPS, and it got to me in a pretty well packed box. I should have filmed the unboxing, but I just wanted to make sure everything worked. And so I just got it out of the box, set it up, and made sure that everything was good to go on it. So that being said, the guitar that we're using today is my trusty GOC Guitars Illumina Plus, and that's running my Aurora Tone Earth Crusher rail style pickups. And we will also be overdriving it with the Opaque Drive from Substation Onyx. That is the only overdrive I own, the only one I care to own. And so that is all we will be using today. I'm not gonna be running the cab that you're seeing it on. I don't have any good microphones to like mic it up with, nor can I crank it loud enough for it to matter anyway. So we will be running into the 2-Notes Captor 8 and running the Get Good Drums Round 1 Contenders Impulse Response Pack to make this sound as beastly as we can. So let me rearrange the camera and everything so that you guys are just looking at the amp itself and not my ugly mug. And let's get some tone testing underway, shall we? All right, so we're gonna be starting out on the clean channel, and you know what, let's just get everything at noon except for the level, because we don't need to be blowing out any eardrums. We'll get gain at noon on the clean channel, presence and depth both at noon on the master channel. And let's flip her on. Also worth noting, the bright switch is set to the right, and we won't worry about the lead channel yet. There's a switch for that too, but. So already that's pretty much a crunch channel, not a clean channel, but let's go ahead and bring that gain way down. Let's roll off the volume a little bit on the guitar. All right, let's hear that with the bright switch going to the left now. Sounds like it's active when it's in the left position and not in the right position. Let's add some more gain. So it's safe to say that the clean channel has a ton of gain on tap. Ton of gain on tap. Let's go ahead and switch it over to the rhythm channel. Bring that gain back down to noon, and we will put these all back at noon as well. All right, that's what it sounds like as is. Let's turn on the bright setting. Let's go a little bit less depth. Bring the presence up. All right, time for an overdrive, and I've turned on a noise gate here. So we're gonna turn on the gold channel of the Opaque Drive. Level at noon, tone at noon, gain all the way down. Bring down the gain. let's turn on that bright switch again. Time to go to the lead channel. Everything is at noon. We'll bring the levels down. Voice switch is to the left on the lead channel. Everything is in the middle position. We'll put depth and presence back as well, and the middle. All right, so that is quite a bit quieter. That's probably why I had it cranked. Switching the lead voice now. All right, now I want to go back to the clean channel because it had a ton of gain. So let's go ahead and add that gain back in and then turn on the opaque drive. All right, so now we are on the low wattage setting and back on the rhythm channel on here, and we're gonna crank the volume. We've got to bring down the captor a little bit. Okay, now I'm going to switch that back to the high wattage, and I'm going to turn down the captor 8 considerably. In this way we can hear what the rhythm channel sounds like cranked, and so we're really saturating the tubes here, and see how it sounds. So I think it's safe to say this amp does the thing. It's got the 5150 sound. I have no clue which 5150 it's actually based on because, you know, it has an actual usable presence knob. Same thing with the gain. Like the gain structure is very well balanced between like 0.0 and 0.10 on these. Like you actually have different amounts of gain all along the way. And the clean channel may as well be a third high gain channel. Sounds great. I think the clean channel cranked on the gain with an overdrive might be one of my favorite channels on it. It sounds sick and I don't know, it just has the sauce. I don't know, man. So what are the things that I don't like about it? Well, as you'll see up on screen right now, there was a little bit of quality control issue as far as receiving it. There were stickers on 2 of the preamp tubes. I don't know if that affects them or not. I've just never seen stickers on preamp tubes before. There's also Sharpie writing on it. I mean, to my knowledge, that stuff can limit the overall lifetime of those tubes. I don't think it affected their sound at all. I think that the stickers could have burned up on those tubes as they get hotter and hotter. So that may be a fire hazard. I don't know if those even get hot enough for that. All I know is I don't like stickers on my tubes, and after all these years of using tube amps, I've never once seen stickers on them. So please, Crab Guitar Effects, if you're watching this, make sure to take those stickers off the tube so at least we don't know that they're there. You know, do us that solid. There's a couple other things I noticed with the foot switch that they provided. The foot switch was missing a screw on one part, and it also didn't include a cable for the foot switch to plug into the amp, which is fine. I have 1/4" cables that I can use for that. The amp also did not include a power cable. That is something I've never experienced buying a new amp before. Now, I will give them a pass on this because since they're shipping it from Ukraine, obviously the wall plugs are different from country to country, so I'm gonna give them a pass on that one. I have plenty of those power cables because of the other amps that I use. Two other things that I just need to mention here. One is that there's no backplate to protect the tube, so be careful if you're moving these things around or if you're taking it on tour or taking it to shows. Stuff can easily hit the preamp tubes back there, so you wanna make sure that you're protecting that somehow. And the last one is there's no master volume on this. I would prefer if right here in the master section that there was a master volume. Now, yes, both of the channels technically do have a level of their own, so it's not really a big deal, especially for somebody like me that's just recording in a studio. But if I was using this live, I would prefer a global control to, you know, raise or lower that total volume. So I already touched on some of the things I really love about it earlier, but this thing has gain for days. That's my number one love for this. It has gain for days. It does the PV gain thing very well. Love how much gain this has. And it's usable gain all the way from 0 to cranked. It's usable gain, so you can get crunch tones, you can get kind of breakup tones on the clean channel, and then you can get just all out ridiculousness if you want to. The usable presence knob is not something I've experienced on the original 5150s, so that's really nice to have a presence knob that, again, you can hear it doing something all along the arc of the potentiometer itself. We've got 3 channels, so you have a lot of versatility and they are foot switchable. We have an effects loop on the back of it. You're switchable between 8, 4, and 16 ohms, which is great no matter what cab that you're using. All of the switches and potentiometers all feel very solid. They're not super flimsy feeling. They're not loose when you're turning the knobs. The switches have a very satisfying click and you don't accidentally press them because they're weak switches or anything like that. Same with the toggle switches for the lead voice, channel switching, and the bright switch. And having the low versus high power switch on the back is also extremely useful, so I'm thankful for all of that. And then just one other thing to note is that lead voice switch is interesting. It seems to do a mid cut when you put it into the left position, and when you put it into the right position, it brings those mids back. You can hear the honk come back into it. Hopefully that came across in the video here. But I feel myself leaving it to the right position. I didn't really like how it sounded putting the switch into the left position, probably because I don't like scooped guitar tones. Same thing goes for this bright switch. You would think that turning it to the right turns it on, but it seems to turn it off. When you pull it to the left, it actually brightens up the signal quite a bit. Feels like it adds a little bit more to the gain as well. And then pushing it to the right kind of takes that away. I'm kind of conflicted as to which position I like it in more. I guess it would depend on the exact tone that I'm going for. I'm sure plugging a 7-string into this, I'd probably want that bright switch turned on. And as with most PV style amps, it definitely needs a good overdrive in front of it. Whether that's the Opaque Drive like I'm using here, whether that's a tube screamer, whatever your flavor of the month is as far as overdrives go, it needs it. The channels on their own don't really suit me by themselves. So I need an overdrive in front of this amp. Even for the clean channel, I think it's really cool to push it into crunch using an overdrive at lower settings. But what do you all think? Does the Crab Guitar Effects Dominator fit the bill? This was $550 US dollars, $160 shipping, and $55 import tax. So really not bad, all things said. You really can't find a 5150 on the used market for that price. You're looking at almost double that price for a 5150 used. And again, that's what pisses me off about that whole situation so much, is that people are price gouging just because EVH passed away. That's just, oh man, I refuse to pay that much money for something that I have purchased for $600 before, in immaculate condition. Okay, I'll get off the high horse there. People can sell their stuff for whatever they want because obviously people are buying them for that price or else they wouldn't be able to sell it for that price, right? So I digress. But at the end of the day, all of the little nitpicky things that I mentioned aside, I actually do love this amp. I can see myself using this quite often, and because it's 50 watts, I can also use it live if I want to. I'll probably have to install my own grill on the back of it or something, but that's not hard to do. So I can definitely see myself using this. I don't know about all of you. Let me know down in the comments below if you'd like to hear this under different circumstances. I'll probably end up buying some mics soon so I can mic up a real cab and see how it sounds. I think it sounds sick, their impulse responses though. But that was it for today. I hope you all liked this video review. Again, this is not a paid review. I paid for this amp, so this is completely unbiased. I'm not trying to get anybody's attention here, or else I wouldn't have paid for it with my own money. But if you made it this far, please hit that subscribe button. Please hit the like button. Help your boy out. And until next time, peace and love, and I'll talk to you in the next one.